Standard 7 Science, Chapter 2 Plants, Structure and Function. Roots, stem, leaves, flowers, and fruits are the parts of a plant. By studying these parts, we can identify the type and species of plant. So here we have an introduction with the first part of plant, and that is the roots. Formation of roots. The part of the plant that grows under the soil and supports the plant is called the roots. The formation of roots, or in other words, germination of a seed, is explained with the help of these two topics, that is radicle and plumule. The part that grows from the seed, from inside the seed towards the soil, is called the radicle, whereas the part that grows above the soil is called the plumule. Radicle and plumule are the two important parts of root. Moving on to the type of roots, we have the taproot and the fibrous roots. Taproots are found in dicotyledonous plants like bigger fruit trees like mango and so on, whereas fibrous roots are found in monocotyledonous plant, example onion. In a taproot system, we have the main root or the primary root, and this primary root is thicker at the base and tapers towards the end. The taproot produces secondary roots. Secondary roots grow obliquely and spread far and wide in the soil. Taproots support the plant. There are hair-like processes near the root tips called the root hairs. In the region of the growth of the root, the tip is covered by cap-like structure. This is the root cap, which protects the root tip from injuries. However, the fibrous roots arise from the stem, as in case of onions. Adventitious roots are some roots that grow from the stem just above the soil. Maize and sugarcane are the examples of adventitious roots. These roots hold and anchor the soil firmly. Absorption of water and minerals and supporting the plant are the other functions of such adventitious roots. There are other kind of roots called the prop roots in banyan tree, the runners or the breathing roots, or they are also called as pneumatophores, or the modified roots, or the aerial roots, or stilt roots. It goes by many names, but this is how the prop roots in banyan tree looks like. Prop roots arise from the branches and they grow towards the soil. On reaching the soil, they support the canopy of the huge tree. They support the plant. So here is a live example of a banyan tree which is 250 years old in the Indian Botanical Garden at Kolkata. It covers extremely large area and it is supported by thousands of prop roots. The next part of a plant is the stem. The stem grows above the soil. The sprouting seed produces plumule, and from the plumule the stem grows. Length of the stem gradually increases as the sprout grows. Following are the different parts of stem. Nodes on the stem are the points from where the leaves come out. Between two successive nodes, the entire region, you call this as the internode. The tip or the apical end of the stem is called a bud. The third part of the leaf. On a plant, the leaves arise from the nodes on a stem. Generally, leaves are thin, flat, and green in color. Let's study the parts of leaf in detail. We have the leaf blade or the lamina. The entire broad spread out part of the leaf is the leaf blade. Then there are leaf margins, which is the edge of the leaf. This is the leaf margin. The tip of the leaf is called the leaf apex. Petiole is the stalk of the leaf. Some leaves have petioles, however, some do not have. Leaf base is the portion of the leaf attached to the stem. Stipules are small leaf-like structures near the leaf base. Some leaves have stipules, however, in some plants, stipules are absent. These are the various parts of the leaf. Moving on to the types of leaves, there are mainly two types of leaves, and that is simple leaf and compound leaves. As seen in the picture, this leaf with a flat leaf blade is a simple leaf. However, when there are many leaves attached to a single foliage, such are the examples of compound leaves. As seen in the picture here, this particular simple leaf is of cottonwood, and it's a plain simple leaf. However, the others are the compound leaves. They are particularly named as palmately compound leaf, pinnately compound leaf, and double compound leaves. Moving on to the arrangement of leaves on the stem, there is alternate arrangement where the leaves emerge alternately on the stem. Another type of arrangement is called the decussate arrangement. Then there is opposite arrangement of leaves and whorled arrangement, and the last is spiral arrangement. Let's study the venation system in the leaves. Venation is of two types, reticulate venation and parallel venation. There is a single midvein which is in the middle of the leaf blade. This makes the leaf appear to be divided into two halves. The midvein gives rise to secondary veins. These veins branch to form a network or reticulum. So this is an example of reticulate venation, and it is a peepal leaf where you have a net-like structure throughout. The next is parallel venation, where the veins run parallel to each other. They start from the leaf base and end in the leaf apex. Example is banana, maize, etc. So these are the two types of venation, parallel and reticulate venation. Here comes the last part of the plant, and that is flower. Here is a view of a hibiscus flower opened. The vertical section of a hibiscus flower will appear like this, where we have the pedicel, which is the stalk of the flower. It may be long or short. One end of it is attached to the stem. Then we have a receptacle. The end of the pedicel, which is attached to flower, is enlarged and swollen. This is called the receptacle. There is calyx, which is the outermost wall of the flower, which is green in color and protective in nature. The petals in bud condition are covered by calyx. There is corolla, that is the petals, and they may be colored or white. There is androecium, which is the male reproductive part of the flower, which consists of stamens, and each stamen is made up of an anther and a filament. A bag-like structure which contains the pollen grains is the anther, and a filament is attached to the bag-like structure, which is further attached to the flower. So anther and filament together forms the androecium, which is the male reproductive part of the flower. Next is the gynoecium, the female reproductive part of the flower, which is made up of carpel. Each carpel consists of stigma. These red things that you see is the stigma. Then there is style. This entire tube-like structure is the style, and the ovary. Pollen grains that are released from the anthers fall on the stigma of another flower. This is called pollination. The ovules or eggs cells in the ovary are fertilized by the pollen grains fallen on stigma. This process is called fertilization. Seeds are formed from fertilized ovules, whereas the ovary develops into a fruit. So the pollen grains may get transferred from the anther of the same flower over the stigma, or anther of one flower, pollen grains from the anther of one flower may go over the stigma of another flower. This is called cross pollination, and the agents being wind and insects and birds, etc. So either self-pollination or cross-pollination. Once the process of pollination is completed, then happens fertilization. Due to fertilization, a seed is formed which further may develop into a new plant. So this is how the sexual reproduction in plants happen. Next part of the plant, and that is the fruit. Each fruit has its own specific characteristics. The variations in fruits are with respect to their shape, color, taste, skin or shell, the fleshy part, etc. Fruits like cashew has its seed on the outside, as also in case of a strawberry, the seeds are on the inside. Dicotyledonous seeds can be divided into two equal parts, like in the example of green peas, etc. Monocotyledonous cannot be divided into two equal parts. Example, maize. So here we end with the two types of seeds. So we have studied all the different parts of a plant. root, stem, fruit, leaves, flower, as also the fruit.